is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, the camp of Pastor Apollo Kibuloy has issued a 2-week ultimatum to Antonio Trillanes IV and retired General Nicolas Torre. The challenge demands proof that the church's air assets belong to former President Duterte, or the accusers will face a penance. A senior Iranian parliamentarian has scathingly rejected President Trump's call for negotiations. The official compared the administration's demands for surrender to the 2020 police killing of George Floyd, signaling a deepening diplomatic rift. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has unveiled a massive $119 billion defense plan. The strategy includes acquiring advanced U.S. fighter jets while shifting Israel toward independence in weapons manufacturing. Spirit Airlines has halted all operations and declared bankruptcy, leaving thousands of passengers stranded. The carrier cited a sharp rise in fuel costs linked to ongoing tensions in the Middle East as the primary cause of its collapse. And new tariff reductions in China are driving down import costs and boosting international trade. The policy scraps duties for over 15 nations, specifically targeting agricultural and industrial goods to stabilize global supply chains. I'm Andrea Santos. Newsline World starts now. First in our news, the Kingdom of Jesus Christ has spoken out. The camp of Pastor Apollo Kibuloy has issued a 2-week ultimatum to former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV and retired General Nicolas Torre III. The challenge proved that the church's air assets actually belong to former President Rodrigo Duterte, or face a penance. Daniela Paulite has the news.
The Kingdom of Jesus Christ, or KOJC, is not taking the latest round of corruption allegations lightly. In a fiery press conference, KOJC directly challenged Antonio Trillanes IV and former General Nicolas Torre III to present ironclad evidence for their claims within 14 days. KOJC's legal counsel, Attorney Israelito Torion, made a staggering challenge. If the duo can prove the church helicopters and planes are actually owned by former President Rodrigo Duterte, the KOJC will hand over the assets for free. But if they fail, Torion has a specific punishment in mind.
Maglatag kayo ngayon din ng lehitimong dokumento ng pagmamayari at legal na ebidensya. Kapag napatunayan ninyo sa inyo na ang mga ito. Ngunit kung mabibigo kayo, gaya ng aming inaasahan, magtungo kayo sa Davao City. Linisin ninyo mismo ang eroplano at hangar gamit ang inyong dila. Deal?
KOJC Executive Secretary Sister Eleanor Cardona doubled down on the challenge, stating that since the accusers used their tongues as a weapon of destruction, they should use those same tongues to pay the price.
At dila nilang gagamitin nila. So bakit dila? Kasi nagsasalita sila. So yun ang ginamit nilang weapon, dila din ang pangbabayad nila, ipang lilinis nila.
The row began after Trillanes claimed in a recent interview that KOJC's air assets are essentially the hidden wealth of the Dutertes, alleging that the former president uses the aircraft more frequently than Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy himself. Trillanes further accused Pastor Apollo of acting as a front for a massive money laundering operation. Torre expressed agreement with Trillanes, calling the alleged connection obvious and questioning how a religious congregation could amass such vast wealth. According to Attorney Israelito Torion, they will not let these serious accusations pass.
Kasi napakabigat po ng kanyang akusasyon. he is practically accusing my client, yung aming minamahal na pastor, no, na siya po ay guilty ng violation ng AMLA law. And in conspiracy pa siya ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
The legal counsel also emphasized that the KOJC has owned the helicopters long before former President Duterte even became mayor. In fact, Pastor Apollo has reportedly lent the helicopters to many friends, and they are sometimes used in operations during calamities. Furthermore, the said helicopters are not registered under the beloved pastor's name because they are owned by the entire church. Therefore, they insist that Trillanes' allegations have no basis. As the clock continues to tick on the 2-week ultimatum, the KOJC remains steadfast and believes that divine justice will prevail amidst these issues. As of now, the camps of Trillanes and Torre have yet to issue a statement regarding the said challenge. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, a senator has criticized the Marcos administration for the lack of an oil deal with Russia despite a supply shortage triggered by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Sheena Torno reports.
Senator Amy Marcos slammed what she described as the slow response of the Marcos administration in addressing the country's oil supply concerns. She said she does not understand why the government has yet to secure a direct oil agreement with Russia. She pointed to private company Petron, which was able to import 2.48 million barrels of oil from Russia. According to her, if a private firm can do it, the government should be even more capable. Senator Amy also urged the Philippines to follow other countries that are actively securing oil supply agreements with Russia. These include Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia. The senator also urged the government to immediately pursue direct government-to-government or G2G oil procurement. She said this would help cushion the impact of the ongoing global oil shock. Marcos stressed that the Philippines should diversify its oil sources and avoid overdependence on routes vulnerable to disruption, such as the Strait of Hormuz. Aside from Russia, she said it would be better for the country to engage directly with nearby suppliers such as Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia, rather than rely on intermediaries. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Sheena Torno, SMNI News.
Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered the immediate mobilization of government agencies to assist communities affected by ashfall from the ongoing activity of Mayon volcano, particularly in the towns of Ginobatan and Kamalig. Creseline Catarong has the story.
The Philippine government is now in full operation to safeguard public health and ensure that roads leading to and from areas affected by Mayon volcano remain accessible. According to the Presidential Communications Office, the Department of Public Works and Highways has begun clearing operations to remove ash from major roads and ensure the safe and continuous travel of residents and emergency responders. Meanwhile, the Department of Health is distributing N95 masks and has deployed mobile clinics and water stations. These efforts aim to address health concerns such as coughing, difficulty breathing, and eye irritation. The Department of the Interior and local government has also deployed fire trucks from the Bureau of Fire Protection for water spraying and ash cleanup in communities. Evacuation measures are being strictly enforced under the leadership of the Office of Civil Defense and the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC. Monitoring and coordination efforts continue to ensure the safety of residents in high-risk areas. The Department of Social Welfare and Development is distributing food and other essential supplies to families in evacuation centers. Thousands of food packs, ready-to-eat meals, and relief supplies have been prepositioned across the Bicol region. The President has also instructed authorities to closely monitor rivers and waterways for possible lahar flows, especially in the event of heavy rainfall. Residents are advised to remain alert. As much as possible, they should stay indoors, wear protective masks, and follow advisories from their respective local government units. The national government continues to coordinate with local authorities to ensure the immediate delivery of assistance to affected communities. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Crystalline Catarong, SMNI News.
In the United States, passengers have been left stranded at airports after Spirit Airlines halted operations, with reports indicating that the airline has declared bankruptcy, citing a sharp rise in fuel costs linked to tensions in the Middle East. The airline said the increase in fuel prices was sudden and sustained, making it impossible to continue operations. Thousands of passengers have been left stranded at airports, many holding tickets that are no longer valid. At terminals, self-check-in kiosks remained closed, leaving travelers without assistance or clear information on rebooking or refunds. Some passengers said their flights were suddenly canceled despite earlier promises of rebooking. Others expressed concern over when they would receive refunds for their tickets.
Mira, hace 2 días por WhatsApp me dieron alguna asistencia, pero inicialmente que me iban a reagendar en otro vuelo el 7 de mayo, pero ya hoy día me encuentro en la situación en donde nadie contesta y ya por los medios informativos ya se sabe que la compañía quebró. Muy preocupado, muy consternado por esta situación. Incluso pensé que de alguna manera la parte legal de Estados Unidos o en el aeropuerto te iba a dar algún tipo de asistencia o algún tipo de guía, pero no.
A viajar el día de ayer y lo suspendieron, queríamos visitar a la familia, pero no se pudo y estamos preocupados porque también cuándo van a reembolsar el dinero que hemos pagado.
The shutdown highlights the broader impact of geopolitical tensions on the global aviation industry, particularly on low-cost carriers that are heavily dependent on fuel prices. Authorities have yet to provide clear guidance as affected travelers continue to seek assistance following the airline's sudden shutdown. What was meant to be a festive celebration at Kidongoor Mahavinshu Temple on Friday turned deadly when a captive elephant went on a rampage, killing a lorry driver, injuring a mahout, and attacking several vehicles. Stella Maris tells us more.
A festive celebration at Kedangur Mahavishnu Temple over the weekend turned into chaos when a captive elephant broke free of its restraints upon arrival. Loud trumpeting and panic erupted as the massive animal charged through the temple premises, uprooting a tree, attacking several two-wheelers, and lifting a Maruti Swift car, which it repeatedly banged on the ground. The stressed elephant killed at least one lorry driver. The victim has been identified as Vishnu, a native of Kolam, who died on the spot, authorities confirmed. The mahout Pradeep was also seriously injured while trying to control the elephant and was treated at a hospital. The elephant has been brought to the temple for the festival celebration. It took several hours for personnel from the Forest Department's elephant squad to tranquilize and capture the panicked animal. Officials acted quickly to prevent it from moving into more populated areas, ensuring the safety of locals and festival goers. The Kedangur Mahavishnu Temple Festival is an annual event celebrated with much fanfare, featuring traditional music, decorated elephants, and elaborate rituals that have been part of the local culture for decades. The festival draws large crowds from across the region and is considered one of the key cultural events in Angamali. Kerala's temple elephants are traditionally part of festival processions, but incidents like this highlight the dangers of transporting and handling these massive animals in crowded, noisy environments. Experts note that stress, confinement, and sudden exposure to crowds often trigger panic-induced rampages. Police and forest officials have launched an investigation into the incident, and discussions about stricter safety protocols for transporting and managing elephants during festivals are expected in the wake of the tragedy. This has been Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Up next, a senior Iranian parliamentarian has scathingly rejected President Trump's call for negotiations. The official compared the administration's demands for surrender to the 2020 police killing of George Floyd, signaling a deepening diplomatic rift. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has unveiled a massive $119 billion defense plan. The strategy includes acquiring advanced U.S. fighter jets while shifting Israel toward independence in weapons manufacturing. More news when Newsline World returns.
Taon-taon, kwento sa bawat kwento, katotohanan sa bawat katotohanan. Mula pa sa pasimula, malinaw ang aming misyon. Magbigay ng tamang impormasyon, maglantad ng katotohanan, manindigan sa lahat ng oras, lalo na't kinakailangan. Hindi lang minsang kinilala, kundi muli at muli. Sa likod ng bawat pagkilala ay katotohanang naibahagi. Isang tinig na narinig. Isang katotohanang umabot sa bawat Pilipino. Sa kabila ng nagbabagong panahon, sa kabila ng mga pagsubok, nananatili ang aming paninindigan. Ang pundasyon namin ay katotohanan. Ang lakas namin ay tiwala ng mamamayang Pilipino sa loob at labas ng bansa. Maraming salamat po. SMNI, para sa Diyos at sa Pilipinas nating mahal.
Sa panahon ng ingay, sa panahon ng maraming tanong, panahon na para marinig ang katotohanan.
Sa totoo lang, ano ba talaga ang nangyayari sa ating bansa?
At sa totoo lang, handa ba tayong harapin ang katotohanan?
Sa totoo lang,
dito walang iwasan,
walang paligoy-ligoy,
diretsong usapan.
Sa totoo lang.
Sa SMNI.
Pagod? Nanunuyo ang lalamunan? O baka naman nahihirapan kang mag-focus sa ginagawa? Kapartner, baka naman dehydrated ka na. Ang katawan natin ay binubuo ng halos 60% hanggang 70% na tubig. Kung walang sapat na hydration, parang sasakyang walang gasolina ang ating katawan, hindi makakaarangkada. Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang tamang hydration? Hindi lamang ito pamatid uhaw dahil nakatutulong rin ito sa pagdaloy ng sustansya sa katawan, pagpapanatili ng tamang body temperature at pagpapakinis ng kutis. Kaya't huwag nang hintayin pang mauhaw ka bago uminom. Ang pagkauhaw ay babala na ng iyong katawan na ikaw ay dehydrated na. Ang standard na payo ng mga doktor ay 8 baso ng tubig ang dapat inumin bawat araw. Pero tandaan, depende ito sa iyong timbang, edad at kung gaano ka ka-active. Samantala, narito ang ilang gabay para manatiling hydrated. Simula ng araw sa isang basong tubig, magbaon ng sariling tumbler para siguradong may maiinom saan man magpunta. At hanggat maaari, piliin ang tubig kaysa mga matatamis na inumin. Kaya mga kapartner, manatiling hydrated para makaiwas sa mas malalang sakit at upang maalagaan ang iyong kalusugan.
Back, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has unveiled a massive $119 billion defense plan, acquiring advanced U.S. fighter jets while pushing for Israeli independence in weapons manufacturing. This report from Almar Forsuelo.
Amid the tense regional ceasefire and mounting domestic pressure, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced a landmark expansion of Israel's military capabilities on Sunday. The Prime Minister confirmed the purchase of 2 new squadrons of F-35 and F-15 fighter jets, a move intended to cement what he called overwhelming air superiority over Iran. Netanyahu stated that Israeli pilots now possess the reach and readiness to strike any target within Iranian territory if called upon. The boost, worth 350 billion shekels or $119 billion, is not just about procurement. In a significant shift towards strategic autonomy, Netanyahu instructed the government to invest heavily in the domestic production of munitions. He emphasized that Israel must not be dependent of foreign nations for its survival, a directive that includes the development of groundbreaking Israeli-made aircraft and a specialized project to neutralize the growing threat of enemy drones.
אנחנו רוכשים 2 טייסות של מטוסים חדישים, F-35 ו-F-15IA. המטוסים הללו מחזקים את העליונות האווירית הישראלית המוחצת, עליונות שהוכחה גם בעם כלבי ועכשיו בשאגת הארי. הטייסים שלנו יכולים להגיע לכל מקום בשמי איראן, והם ערוכים לעשות זאת אם יידרשו לכך. יש לנו מטוסים אדירים, יש לנו טייסים אדירים. וביחס לעצמאות, הנחיתי להשקיע ביכולת ייצור עצמי של חימושים. בעשור הקרוב אנחנו נוסיף 350 מיליארד שקל לתקציב הביטחון, וזאת כדי לייצר את החימושים הללו בארץ, ולא להיות תלויים בחוץ לארץ.
The announcement comes as Netanyahu faces a wave of public frustration at home. But while Netanyahu focuses on the next decade of defense, the streets of Tel Aviv are focused on the past. Protesters have ramped up calls for a state commission of inquiry into the October 7, 2023 security failures, when many are demanding an end to the multi-front regional wars. Despite the domestic turmoil, Netanyahu remains focused on a decade-long military build-up, framing the massive expenditure as the only way to ensure Israel remains stronger than its enemies for generations to come. Reporter for Newsline World, Almar Forsuelo, SMNA News.
A senior Iranian parliamentarian has scathingly rejected U.S. President Donald Trump's call for negotiations, comparing the administration's demands for surrender to the 2020 police killing of George Floyd. More on this from Prince Tripoli.
In a sharp escalation of rhetoric from Tehran, Abolfaz Zorevand, a key member of the Iranian parliament's National Security Committee, has dismissed the Trump administration's diplomatic overtures as bullying. Speaking from Tehran, Zorevand used a provocative analogy, comparing U.S. negotiation tactics to a policeman's knee on the neck, referencing the 2020 death of George Floyd to describe the pressure being applied to the Islamic Republic. Zorevand emphasized that Iran will not accept unilateral ceasefire and continues to demand full compensation and admission of responsibility for the joint U.S.-Israeli strikes that began on February 28. He dismissed U.S. President Donald Trump's recent 15-day window for a truce, suggesting the American leader is desperate for a diplomatic achievement to bring back to Washington ahead of a high-stakes trip to Beijing.
مذاکره از نظر اونها مذاکراتی است که یک طرفش پلیس آمریکاست و طرف دیگرش گردن آقای جورج فلوید که زیر زانوی اون پلیسه. ما اصلا چنین معادلی رو قبول نداریم. ما یک کشور قدرتمند هستیم و حوزه منافع امنیت ملی خودمون رو قویاً روش ایستادیم.
The lawmaker also claimed that Iran maintains control over the strategic Strait of Hormuz and warned that Tehran could influence the Bab el-Mandeb Strait if necessary. He mocked the current state of U.S. domestic politics, citing reports of technical failures and mutiny on American naval vessels, while contrasting U.S. internal friction with the resistance of the Iranian people.
اساساً اون چیزی که آقای ترامپ الان در واقع پیگیرش هست در حوزه روابط بین‌الملل، حقوق بین‌الملل و رعایت اصل حاکمیت ملی کشورها سازگار نیست. یعنی تسلیم. هیچ کشوری آمادگی نداره برای اینکه بخواد تسلیم زورگویی و اشغال و هژمونی کشور دیگری بشه. ضمن که این دوران هم گذشته.
Despite Pakistani mediation attempts in Islamabad last month, diplomatic efforts remain deadlocked. With the U.S. naval blockade continuing to choke Iranian trade, Tehran appears to be looking toward China, which currently hosts the rotating presidency of the UN Security Council, to provide a counterbalance to American arrogance. As the ceasefire teeters, the window for a negotiated settlement is narrowing. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Prince Tripoli, SMNA News.
New tariff reductions in China are helping lower import costs and boost trade, particularly for agricultural and industrial goods. Kai Velan for the details.
A freight company in Shenzhen, China reported significant savings from the zero tariff policy, especially on fruit imports from Africa.
去年我们从非洲进口水果总量达12000吨，其中南非苹果、橙子、柑橘为主，平均每柜预计可节约2万元，一年可以省下1000万左右。进口成本降低了，市场的价格肯定会有所下降。
The company imported around 12,000 tons of fruit last year, including apples, oranges, and citrus, benefiting from reduced trade costs. Customs officials say the latest tariff cuts also apply to products such as wine, organic chemicals, and leather raw materials.
结合深圳市进口商品来看，本次关税下调主要涵盖了鲜苹果、葡萄酒、有机化工品、皮革原料等。 其中，鲜苹果税率下调10个百分点，改性乙醇下调30个百分点，餐饮、生鲜、精细化工等行业将直接获益。
Authorities say sectors like food services, fresh produce, and fine chemicals are expected to benefit directly from the policy changes. Officials add that lower import costs could help bring down market prices, offering potential relief to consumers. Reporting for Newsline World, Kai Villan, SMNA News.
In Japan, officials at the Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear power station say safety remains their top priority as the country moves toward restarting nuclear reactors amid global energy uncertainty. Joy Tabanao has the details.
In Niigata Prefecture, Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear power plant manager Takeyuki Inagaki said lessons from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster continue to shape current safety protocols.
やはり我々福島第一原子力発電所の事故15年前ですかに経験をしてですねで非常に私自身もですねかなり厳しい体験でしたので。様々な教訓と反省というのを持っておりますけども。
He noted that enhanced safety measures are in place, including a 15-meter sea wall designed to withstand tsunamis stronger than projected risks.
6、7号機の運転員は、半数以上が運転プラントを経験したことがないという、若い人っていうことがありまして、ここは我々かなり真剣に考えなければいけないというふうに思っておりました。
With many young and inexperienced operators, the facility has intensified training programs, including simulator drills and on-site inspections.
本当に中央制御室と同じ 状態にある、シミュレーターがある施設ですが、ここでですね、運転員はですね、年間の5分の1、大体70日以上ですね、そういった、軌道を、停止の、通常の運転操作に加えて異常、そして事故、時に適切に対応できるかというですね、訓練を本当に明け暮れておりました。
Additional training is conducted at other power plants to help workers identify abnormalities using real-world conditions. Officials say restarting reactors could also help reduce Japan's reliance on imported liquefied natural gas, particularly amid instability in the Middle East. According to Inagaki, Japan imports 4 million tons of liquefied natural gas from Qatar each year via the Strait of Hormuz.
何度も言いますけども、安全が最優先というところでありますけれども、その上でしっかり安定運転できるようですね、この今の中東情勢も含めて我々の大きな使命だったというふうに思っております。
Japan balances energy security and safety concerns. Authorities say rigorous training and upgraded infrastructure are key to regaining public trust. This has been Choi Tabanao, your global citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
When we return, Billie Eilish has teamed up with director James Cameron to bring her Hit Me Hard and Soft tour to the big screen. The immersive 3D concert film is set to hit the theaters on May 8th. And in sports, teen sensation Kimi Antonelli continues his stunning rise in Formula One. The Mercedes rookie delivered a commanding performance at the Miami Grand Prix, securing his first career win from pole position. More news after the break.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito, pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulong at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, saka palalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling, gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
American pop star Billie Eilish has teamed up with acclaimed filmmaker James Cameron to bring her Hit Me Hard and Soft tour to the big screen. Meanwhile, the highly anticipated comeback of BTS is driving a major surge in earnings for HYBE. Daniela Paulite has the latest show buzz.
The concert film titled Billie Eilish Hit Me Hard and Soft, the tour live in 3D, captures the global tour in an immersive cinematic experience. The project is co-directed by Eilish and Cameron and will be released theatrically by Paramount Pictures on May 8. Fans in the Philippines will get an early look with the film opening in cinemas on May 6. The release marks a unique collaboration between music and film, offering audiences a front row seat to one of the year's biggest tours. HYBE reported first quarter revenue of 698.3 billion Korean won, or about $469 million, marking a sharp 40% increase from the same period last year. The growth is attributed to strong sales in music, tour-related merchandise, and fan club memberships. In particular, demand for ARMY memberships tied to BTS' upcoming Arirang tour has contributed significantly to the company's performance. HYBE says it aims to sustain the momentum with a series of artists' comeback in the coming months. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
In sports, teen sensation Kimi Antonelli continues his stunning rise in Formula One after delivering another commanding performance on the grid. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards is in doubt for Minnesota's playoff opener due to the lingering knee injury. Carlo De La Peña tells us more.
At the Miami Grand Prix, Kimi Antonelli claimed his third consecutive victory, further cementing his status as one of the sport's brightest young stars. The 19-year-old also etched his name in history, becoming only the third driver to secure his first 3 pole positions in a row, joining legends Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher. Driving for Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team, Antonelli overcame an early setback at the start before executing a decisive overtake on Lando Norris during the pit cycle to seize control of the race. The victory widens his lead over teammate George Russell, who now trails in the championship standings after 4 races. With momentum firmly on his side, Antonelli's rapid development signals a potential title challenge, though his camp remains focused on managing expectations as the season progresses. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Timberwolves star guard is listed as questionable for Game 1 of their second-round series against the San Antonio Spurs after suffering a bone bruise in his left knee. Edwards sustained the injury during an awkward landing in Game 4 of their first-round series against the Denver Nuggets, forcing him to miss the final 2 games of the series. Despite the setback, reports indicate growing optimism that the 22-year-old could return during the series after participating in light workouts and traveling with the team. Minnesota, however, continues to deal with multiple injury concerns, with Dante DiVincenzo ruled out for the rest of the playoffs due to a ruptured Achilles, while Ayo Dosunmu is also questionable with a calf issue. Edwards' potential absence looms large as the Timberwolves prepare for a tough matchup against the Spurs side led by rising star Victor Wembanyama. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo De La Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
A unique wellness event in Seoul is encouraging participants to relax, unwind, and even fall asleep in public as part of a growing focus on health and rest. Faith Agustin tells us more.
Organized by the Seoul City government, this unique power nap contest highlights the importance of sleep alongside physical exercise in maintaining overall well-being.
운동뿐만 아니라 잠도 많이 중요하다고 하더라고요.
네, 이번에 또 서울시에서 하는 행사 중에서 재밌는 대회가 있길래 이름도 너무 마음에 들고 해가지고 참가하게 됐습니다.
Spectators also found themselves drawn into the calming atmosphere, with some saying the event made them feel sleepy just by watching.
본지 지금 한 30분 정도 된 것 같은데 보고 있으니까 저도 그냥 여기서 너무 졸려가지고 자고 싶다는 생각밖에 안 드는 것 같아요.
Participants described the experience as peaceful and refreshing, with many enjoying the chance to rest outdoors.
생각보다 조용해서 잠자기 편안한 분위기였고 잔디밭이랑 자연에서 잘 수 있는 시간이어서 너무 즐겁고 좋았던 시간이었습니다.
Some attendees even added creative flair by dressing up, embracing the event's relaxed and playful spirit.
오늘은 예수 테마로 입어봤는데 이렇게 여기 와서 아무것도 안 하고 잠자는 이색적인 행사에 참여했는데 되게 좋았고 좀 힐링이 되는 시간이었습니다.
Officials say the event aims to raise awareness about the importance of rest in today's fast-paced lifestyle. This has been Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Son. Winning and losing begin in the mind, and your mind is the womb of your faith. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Andrea Santos. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.